Florida State's volatility makes it hard to predict how good the Seminoles are going to be this season. No team in the history of college football has ever finished last in their conference the year after winning their conference title the season before. Mike Norvell has to prove himself again. He has to show that he is the right head coach to continue to lead this FSU football program, because after last year's debacle, I don't know if he was carried by Jordan Travis, Jared Verse, and the other talent that was on that 2023 squad, or if he actually is a solid coach. Maybe he already peaked at Florida State. Maybe that 2-year run between 2022 and 2023 is the best that we're going to see of Florida State football with Mike Norvell as the head coach. He brings in a new coaching staff. He cleaned house with his previous coaching staff. You had to do that after only winning 2 games. Is Gus Malzahn going to be a home run hit at OC for him? Is he going to have a similar impact for the Noles that Chip Kelly had for Ohio State last year during their national title run? My issue with Gus Malzahn and why this is a huge wild card is due to, for one, at Auburn and UCF, Gus Malzahn gave up play calling duties twice. Yeah, he was the head coach. He had to manage more responsibilities, and with him taking a reduced role, only having to worry about calling the plays, it could make it a lot easier on him. But there's been plenty of head coaches who have done a good job of balancing the responsibilities that comes with being a head coach and a play caller, i.e. Lincoln Riley. So when Gus Malzahn is giving up play calling duties and taking it back at his previous 2 stops, it gives me a little bit of pause that maybe he just has been a little bit outdated. Maybe college football has caught up to Gus Malzahn's scheme and his system that used to be so special at getting the most out of any running back that he put in. I don't know if the hiring of Gus Malzahn is going to play out as well as what Mike Norvell is hoping for. Meanwhile, the hiring of Tony Wright as defensive coordinator, I'm really confident this is going to work out. He did a great job during his time as the DC for Nebraska. They had one of the best defenses in the Big Ten. They had really good defensive line play, and they were really good at getting after the quarterback. And what makes Tony White such a great defensive coordinator is his ability to change things around. He isn't somebody that just sticks with one scheme. He can do a variety of different things out of this 3-3-5 that he likes to run. Florida State defensively last year wasn't as bad as what the statistics show. When you have an offense that's constantly going 3 and out and turning the football over, it puts a lot of added pressure on your defense. They're on the field for more plays. They get fatigued a lot faster. I expect for this defense to play at a top 50 level or better under Tony White being the play caller. This new coaching staff, there are some guys that I really like and also some guys that I really don't know about. I'm not saying that I'm against the hiring of Gus Malzahn, that is not going to work out, but I really don't know how much upside you get with Gus calling the plays. We know the ground game is going to tremendously improve, but is he going to be able to bring out the best in Boston College transfer Thomas Castanelos? It's weird how a guy who had an 18-4 touchdown interception ratio randomly gets benched in the middle of the season and isn't able to reclaim the starting job. It's a little bit weird. He is a really good fit for Gus Malzahn's system. He's a uber athletic quarterback, really shifty, reminds me a little bit of Kyler Murray, but it's just a little bit, it just doesn't make sense how a guy who had the stat line he had at Boston College with Bill O'Brien in year 1 as the head coach just wasn't able to reclaim his starting job. There has to be a little bit more to that situation than what we know about. But overall, with this new coaching staff, this is what's going to largely make or break Mike Norvell this season. If he nailed all of these new hires, Florida State could probably end up right back in the ACC championship again. I don't question the talent on FSU's roster this year. The chances of them whiffing on their second straight portal class is very slim to none. I give Mike Norvell a little bit of a benefit of a doubt because, yeah, as bad as what last season was, the year before, he did a really good job of building up Florida State. They went from being a team that year 1, 3-6, year 2, 5-7, year 3, 10 wins, year 3, you go undefeated, win the ACC title during the regular season. That was just a really one-off year, in my opinion, when it comes to evaluating Mike Norvell. I don't think we will ever see FSU have a season that bad, but it still doesn't mean that FSU isn't capable of disappointing again. There is a path where maybe they only win 5 or 6 games this year. And there also is a road where maybe the Seminoles win 9, 10 and get right back into the ACC championship and we see them in the CFP. You just don't know how good this team is going to be this year. That's why the Florida State Seminoles are college football's biggest mystery team in 2025. Their transfer portal class looks pretty good. You bring in some good starters on the offensive line that should be plug and play for you. You got Squirrel White and Deuce Robinson coming in at wide receiver. You got more dynamic playmakers at wide out this year than what you had last year. And also your offensive line should be a lot better at opening up holes in the run game and protecting the quarterback. But ultimately, I want to know if they can develop the guys that they recruit out of high school. That has been the biggest issue Florida State has experienced under Mike Norvell. And it's a underrated reason why 2024 was the second worst year in the history of Florida State football. When you do a poor job of developing the guys that you recruit, it makes it a necessity that you always have to strike gold on everybody that you bring into the transfer portal. Now, it looks like Florida State is using the transfer portal to mask their inability to develop the young guys that they get out of high school. And that's why we've seen Florida State recruiting somewhat take a hit in that regard. So this year, with the transfer portal class you bring in, it's relatively a little bit smaller compared to previous portal classes. That shows that Mike Norvell is going to be banking on some of those high school guys at receiver, cornerback, that step up and take big leaps in their development. We're going to see just how far the Noles can go being a team that relies heavily on this portal approach, being portal or die. Because that's really what it is when it comes to FSU. If they don't have a great portal class and they don't bring in a bunch of guys that can come in and produce right away, they end up being screwed because they can't develop high school talent. So this is a team that they could be just as bad as what they were last year, or we could see them right back in the playoff discussion. It's really hard to figure out what FSU is going to be this year.